Everybody, it's Janice Davies here. I'm in New Zealand. I don't know where anybody else is here today. And so what we're going to be talking about today is relationships. Now, relationships are good, bad, and indifferent. So if anybody has any questions, hi, we've got Tina that's just joined us. And I know that Barbara's on the way. And welcome, welcome, welcome. And so what I'd like to be able to share with you today is that you walk away with some tips so that you understand where you are with your relationships and some things that you can do with them. So now what my goal is that you will have a greater understanding about your purpose in life and why these relationships are in your life as well. So hello, Adrian and Kathy. And now I'm going to ask you ladies, because I'm in New Zealand, it's very hot here today and I've had to close the blinds because it's so bright. Hello, Sharon's joined us as well. So now I don't know how good I am at Facebook Live. So if you can type in where you are coming from, where you are in the USA, because I'm assuming most people here from the States, I'm going to see if I can find you on my little map that I've got of the USA so I can track where you are. So if anybody wants to write a comment in and let me know where you are, I'll see if I can find you so that I know where you're coming from. If you don't know where New Zealand is, we're down underneath Australia, who are our biggest competitors in the sports, a bit like some of the, the America and Canada sometimes are our biggest competitor. Well, Australia's our biggest competitor that we have here with sports as well. So wherever you are in the States, welcome. No doubt your weather will be very different from mine that I'm having here, which is a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. So, as I said, my name is Janice Davies. I've been teaching this information for 30 years, and I started because I had to learn myself. And so for me, the universe has shoulder tapped me for years and years, and whenever I learned something else, I taught it to somebody else. And for me, the journey started when I was in a marriage, and I had two beautiful young children, and I was in a bullying relationship, but I actually didn't know. So when things are not okay, we sometimes know that things aren't okay, but we don't know what to do about them. So that's where my journey started. So I've taught, way back then I was teaching in childcare and I was a childcare supervisor. Then I went up to teaching teenagers, taught in corporates, I've done workshops, I've done conferences, I've written books. And so now I'm online. So this is a new, information's the same, but this is a different field for me. So as I say, what I want to just share my intention, because this is, some of you have just arrived. My intention for you all is that I help you to achieve some personal and professional goals. So you're going to get some tips about what are some of the things that you can do. And for me, this work is a calling. So we all have a gift or talent to bring to the world, and mine that I've been called up to do is to be able to help empower women. And right now, globally, since we had the Me Too about 3 years ago in the States, and we're right on track here because I've got goosebumps all over me. Since we had that, it is a new phase in society, and it's just about women becoming empowered, so we're actually treated as equals. So it is a new way of thinking for women. And the reason it's a new way is because we actually have to step up and create new boundaries. Hello, Veronica's just joined us. So in creating those new boundaries, it means we're going out of our comfort zone, and we've got to learn how to do that by being true to ourselves. So we've got to learn who we are, and then how do we say those words so that we've created a new boundary for ourselves. I mean, it's easy. We can close a door and we can walk away and we can leave somebody in another room, but we've got to be able to do it by creating new boundaries with words. And so that's kind of where we're going to. So just back to my intention for you, I want you to get some more tips so you're going to be more confident, happy, positive, and successful, and on purpose. And that being on purpose is on purpose to being your best self, because your inner guide is calling you, and your soul or spirit, and I'll talk about this again, and every relationship that you have is your journey to be that. And so again, my third intention that I've got to be able to help you with is to be able to help you develop your potential, because within all of us there is this beautiful being that is ready to sort of escape, but we've all sort of been covered ourselves in and shriveled down inside. I know I've been there, because when we do that, we make the world a better place, and that's what we're looking to do. So now I've got my little success attitude hat. I'm not going to wear it all the time because it might mess up my hairdo, but I just want to describe to you what the success attitude is about. Now, the whole concept behind this is that when something is not okay in your life, you go looking for an answer. Now, the answer doesn't have to come to you immediately. The answer comes to you in Hi, Linda. I think Linda's just joined us. So it's stepping stones. So you may have, for example, an easy one is you want a new job. And so your new job is over here, and your job where you are is right here. And to get there, you've got to do a lot of stepping stones. It may even be deciding where it is, doing a CV, getting some new skills, whatever it is. But that's kind of what the success attitude is about, is that you keep going and keep going and keep going. You go down roads that don't work, and you learn out of that. You might learn, for example, in a relationship that you don't want somebody that smokes if you're a non-smoker, because that's important to me. And every little journey you go on is that you're learning something out of it. So our relationships today, I'll take my little hat off. It's a little bit hot. I'll fix up my hair. Sorry, ladies. Got to look beautiful. I feel better. So our relationships, they're good, they're bad, they are indifferent. And the reason I say that, because some support us, some push us down, and some are kind of like in the middle. And we've got to be able to define where they are, and then work out what we like in them and what we don't like in them, and then carry on living with that by either staying in the same place and making changes with our boundaries that I was talking about, creating new boundaries for yourself with the words, or by actually walking with actions. And that's our choice. So, but remember, every relationship is a learning curve. Now, the first one that we are born into is family. Now, family they are a big learning curve. But within our family, we've got mum or dad, or for me and my daughters, it was just mum in the end, and they'd see dad occasionally. But whatever it was still, for their souls, there was a learning curve, and for me, there's a learning curve, and for you, there's a learning curve. We are in our relationships, maybe the oldest, the youngest, the only girl, the only boy, and all these sorts of things affect us as well. But our family is our first biggest learning curve that we have earlier on in our life. And what we don't understand is that when we are young, we are embracing ideas and concepts in our brain, because our brain develops most from the time it's 0 to 7. It's a big sponge, and everything, good, bad, or different, just gets lodged in our brain. And so essentially, you might have heard about the subconscious mind. Oh, something's just cracked over here. I'm not sure what it is. And that's really what's happening, is that our mind is, these ideas are getting lodged in our mind. So if we're told even back then that you're dumb, you're silly, you're stupid, you should be the same as your brother or your sister or whatever it is, that can be a subconscious thought in your mind, and that can rule your life until you decide one day that you're not going to do that. On the other hand, you get parents that are really supportive, and you feel really confident and all sorts of things. But whatever it is, your soul has come down to you to learn the lesson that you need to learn, or not. And I say or not because you've got free will and you don't have to. But when you are that unhappy in something in your life, that is an indication to you that it's actually time. It's time. The universe is saying, are you ready? Are you ready? You're ready to learn this yet? And then we get stuck and we get fear and we procrastinate and all that sort of stuff. So family, first, relationships. Second one is our school friends and our friends. So we're sort of going from up till say 15 or 16 before we get our boyfriends and girlfriends. And so we're learning from those as well. So that's like what we've learned at home, we might take into our relationships with our friends, and we continue to do that all our life. And then our third relationships is like if we're getting a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, married, whatever we're doing, we're starting to have those sorts of relationships. Now, what's happened is what we learned way back when we were young, we may carry that same behavior on throughout our life, or that you decide you're going to do the opposite. So it's actually you making a decision. If something feels right and you carry on doing it for say 30 or 40 years, and then suddenly it doesn't feel right anymore, that you're feeling like you're not being the real you, you're sick and tired of looking after everyone else, that belief that you've had all that time has carried you up to that time, and now at age 40, you're going to let go of that belief from when you were a child and learn something new and start to create a new relationship. So sorry, I'm just going to get a drink, ladies. Every relationship that you have is your learning curve. Now, in saying that, we have our relationships to learn about ourselves. I'm going to repeat that. We have relationships to learn about ourselves. If we just lived in the world on our own, it didn't matter what time we went to bed, what time we ate, when we did the washing, when we showered, when we ate, anything, it wouldn't matter. But when we are with other people, be anybody in our life, we are interacting with them. And so what we've got to start doing is learning how to create a good, happy relationship that works for us. An equal relationship, not a dominating relationship, an equal relationship. And that's what we're looking at. And I'm going to talk about those in a minute. So before I get on, sorry, I've got to be here. Sorry, ladies. It is very hot over here. And so if you've got a piece of pen and paper, jot down any notes, because I'm going to be going into something else that is really quite important for you to understand. Well, actually, really important for you to understand. So get yourself a piece of paper and come and join it. Oh, we've got Deborah joined us as well. So hi everybody. Look, I hope this is helpful for you. There will be a replay later on, but if you've got any questions, type them in the comments, and hopefully, because this is a learning curve for me, I'm going to be able to see them. And just on that learning curve, I want to just talk about that for a minute as well. Whenever we are learning something, there's the first time and we think, oh, this is impossible, I'm not going to be able to do it, it's too hard. This is whether you're learning a new car, new phone, to try a new recipe, whatever. The second time it's getting easier and you think, oh yeah, I know how to turn on my phone, and I know how to find this dial, and I know how to do this, or I know how to walk, or I know how to use this car, or whatever it is. The third time we start doing it automatically. So for me here, this is my third live, because my information I've been doing for years, but I'm just starting to go online. So if I mess up, I'm only in stage 2, because I've done it a few times and I'm getting better at it. So just remember yourself, the 3 stages of learning. It's impossible. Oh, it is possible. Oh, I can do it. I'm a master at it. Okay, flip back into the course. So what I'm going to be doing for you today is giving you a freebie if you would like to get it. It's an ebook that I wrote with some friends quite a few years ago, and it's called Moving from Fear to Faith. Now, the reason I'm giving you this book, it's not about relationships, it's you learning to actually move up from I'm scared, I'm negative, I don't know what I'm doing, and gradually start to have faith in yourself. So if you think of all the things that you've already done, you've already achieved a whole lot of things. So you can do it. But what happens is, thank you for the heart. I don't know who gave it to me. Who gave me a heart? Somebody did. I can't. Oh, how can I see that? Oh, Barbara gave it to me. Thank you, Barbara. So it's going on that journey from being down in low energy and negativity to up here where we're raising our vibration, because that's actually where we are learning and creating with God, divine, whoever you want to talk about it. And the reason I say that, because there is a global consciousness of women. We are rising upwards. And remember, we're doing it so that we are equal. It's just accepting the equality that we have. So now what I want to say is that in that book, it's going to give you some ideas from myself and other people to be able to move you forward. Now, if on my Facebook page you saw that level of consciousness where there was, right down the bottom, there was fear and anger and negativity, and you went up and it rated you, and at the top there was consciousness. This is where the fear, anger, negativity, procrastination is, right down the bottom. And as you move up the scale of being yourself and learning to trust yourself, you're moving up that scale to having faith and confidence and more love for yourself and everything. And up at the top is the consciousness level. And that's where you manifest the most, the best, because that's where you are. Your energy is high. You have moved up. You've gone on your journey. You are learning to keep your vibration high, your energy high. You've moved from the fear to faith, even though on the journey you're going to go up and down quite often, but you're actually striving for that. So that's why I'm giving you that book, because it's going to help you on that journey. Now, on that level of consciousness, I will be doing a video on it next week. I just haven't had time this week, but that will help you with that. Okay, pens and papers out, ladies. Here's some tips for you that you're going to love. Okay. Now, there are three types of relationships. There are three, what we call roles in the relationships. And the types of relationships that we are, there's either the parenting role, where they are saying, you do this and do it my way, because my way is the only way to do it. And then the person they are speaking to is passive. So the one's very aggressive and one's very passive. The second one is where we have got a child who is feeling not okay with themselves. So they are virtually the one that are getting spoken to all the time, spoken down to. They're not giving their opinion. They don't know how to give their opinion. And they are very passive, and they are being dominated by the adult or the person that is being very aggressive. The third type of role is an adult. Now, this is what we want. And with that, it's learning how to communicate. It's believing in yourself. It's understanding you are a team. And that's what you're wanting to do in your types of relationships. So parent, child, adult are the three different stages. Now, what happens with those three relationship styles is there are 4 scenarios. Okay, so we've got parent, child, adult, and we've got 4 scenarios. The first one is where I was 30 years ago, when I was in a marriage and I didn't know why I was so unhappy, when I had no reason to be unhappy. I had 2 beautiful daughters. I had a brand new house. I could stay at home. I didn't have to work. There was money coming in, so that was fine. And I'd moved back to New Zealand. I could visit my family and everything. But I didn't know why I was so unhappy, and that was because I was being a person my partner wanted to be. I wasn't being the real me. And so in that case, he was being the adult, the bully adult, and I was being the negative child, the child who didn't know how to stand up for herself. I didn't even know that I had to do that. So we don't know until it comes into our life and we have the opportunity to learn about it. So effectively for me, what was happening, I was putting on this facade that everything was okay, but inside my soul was crying. We've got Ruth has joined us as well. Hi, Ruth. So what we're looking to do is, when I left that type of relationship, I started my journey. Now, that relationship, remember, I was the child, the one that was passive, and he was the one that was aggressive. And that relationship is what they call a lose-lose relationship. It's where all the physical, domestic violence, all the negative relationships are around the world. And dysfunctional relationships are lose-lose relationships, like what I had. Now, people don't know how to communicate. They're not being their real selves. They have got low self-esteem. They're reliant on each other. There's codependency in there, is that bully feels good making me feel small because it boosts his ego. So I didn't know until I started studying it. So, I was 50% part of the problem because I didn't know what to change. And that's part of it. It's accepting that you've got something that you've got to learn. So that's a lose-lose. The aggressive, well, the adult was being aggressive. They're not always aggressive. And the child was being submissive. And that was what I was. So moving out from the lose-lose relationship, the next one is what they call a win-lose. Now, so that you understand and can relate this to your life, is that when you are a parent, you are teaching your children. So that's a win-lose relationship, because you are teaching your child how to grow up. And then when they become teenagers, they think they know it all. Let me show you. They think they know it all. And then they start challenging you. They think they've got all the answers. It becomes a win-win, and then it goes down again because no, they haven't got the answers and they're asking for some pocket money or some help. But that way there, you're teaching somebody to step up. So although I'm using a parenting example, it's the same type of relationship that we will often find in our workplace or when we're with people. So in a workplace, it's like if you've got a human resources manager and they are training a staff up. So the human resources manager is the person that is the adult role, and the team member is getting trained up to go up to a new role. So that's what's called a win-lose. Now, the third type is that in reverse. It's a lose-win. Now, the best example I can give you of this is my workplace bullying. I've actually got this in my movie as well, because my story is, I've written a movie script for it. But this is where a bully will try and blame the other people for their mishaps, for their mistakes, for their inadequacies. So they're trying to dump it onto the other person. Now, when this happened to me at work, because I'd gone searching for answers from when I was married, and I knew about this process, and I'd been warned about this bully, and that's a whole different ball game because I do get messages. So, and I'd seen the bully bullying other people in the workforce, bullying his students, and his students were even in tears, and there were complaints about him, which there should have been. But then he decided I was going to be the next person. So this was about the 6-month time frame at work. So he was bullying me for everything. He was blaming me for what was happening to him with his students and with his class, etc. And he should have got the job and all the sorts of things because I got a promotion. Now, in that case, what I knew then was I pushed it back to him. I could say to him, well, no, I don't agree with you. And I didn't do that. And I created new boundaries because I knew about this. I had words that I could use. And when I had to go and have a meeting with the boss, and the bully man was there as well, I called him Dragon Head because he was like 6'6" and big face. So I had to give him a name. And when the boss, who was also about 6'2", and I'm 5'4", so I'm quite short, told me that I had to be friends with the bully, because I'd learned to say the correct words and use phrases that created boundaries for me, I said no. Now, in saying no, I was not going to have lunch with him. I was not going to have a drink with him because he thought we should be friends. Because my boss said, well, you're both divorced and you both got young children, and you're both in tourism travel, so you should be friends. But I said no. Now, the reason that's important in this situation, because I was starting to create new boundaries for myself, and it's saying no to them is saying yes to you. And so those two words, no and I, are the most important words in the dictionary for you, because you are creating new boundaries with them. So that it was lose, win. Where am I up to? Yeah, because he was trying to blame me, but I could put boundaries up. So that's the third type. And what you're doing, and then is when somebody is saying you're the problem, and you know that you're not the problem, and you've got the confidence to be able to say no. Now, going back to what I talked about before, parent, child, adult, that's an adult way of communicating. That's an assertive way of communicating. And so you need to learn to be able to communicate assertively, not passively like I did when I was married, not aggressively when you thump the table or slam the door and yell and scream and swear. That's aggressive. But assertively, where you can say the words you need to say so that you can explain yourself. So that is a really important skill to learn, and to be able to have the confidence to say that. And that's actually why I've got it in my program, because it is so vital for you to become a new you with this information. So now we come to the fourth relationship scenario. We've had lose-lose, we've had win-lose, we've had lose-win. We're now on win-win. The win-win, when I saw this, let me see, maybe 25 years ago when I was first exposed to this process, it's like, oh, that's where I want to be. But I wasn't, I was way up here. So the journey from lose-lose to win-win has been my journey, and a journey that you have to go on, depending where you are in those scenarios that I spoke to you. But that's where you need to learn the skills so that you're there. So remember our parent, child, adult. This is two adults who both can communicate assertively, who have both got their own dreams and goals, who both can have limits and their own space. So those people there can negotiate and compromise, and that's where you want to be with your relationships to create a win-win. Now, it's not just with partners, it's at work. But in saying at work, if you've got a job, if your task is to answer the phone, you've obviously still got to answer the phone. You've still got to do your jobs at work, that is part of your job description. But you don't have to do somebody else's jobs that are annoying you because they're too lazy. That's where you need the communication to create new boundaries. And that's another story, but that's basically it, because that's sometimes what people will try and emotionally blackmail you to do their work. So the win-win is, as I say, it's personal, it's with partner, it's work, it's also with your family, and it's also with your friends. So that's the type of relationship that you're wanting to create. So for you, is if you've experienced bullying, because I've had it twice, one personal, one, I've had it more than that, but I mean, I've been able to handle it because I've learned, and I will push it back at them. But it's still been a learning curve for me to throw back a comment and say, return it to them. But then the third relationship I was in, I thought was a win-win, but in fact it wasn't. So again, another big learning curve, because I thought that's where we were, but this, and with bullying, they're very, very clever, the way that you can be bullied. It can be physical. Well, we know that if ever you're punched, just move on out of there and go away and find safe haven. It's also mental, playing games with you. If you loved me, you would do this. It's emotional, and it's spiritual as well. So there's 4 types of bullying that you can experience, and it's understanding, okay, that's where it is. The most important thing is you do not feel okay, because if you don't feel okay, that's the universe saying, hey, 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 time to learn the lesson and move on in life. That's what not feeling okay is about. It's about you being shoulder tapped to step up, because nobody is going to do it except you. So I've got somebody says, so you were the win and he was the lose. Absolutely, I was the win and he was the lose. So that's kind of where we're going. So a couple of things I just want to mention. This is my book. These are my memoirs, and that tells the whole story, and that's what the movie script is based on, because it's my journey to learn to be the best version of me and teach these things as well. It will be in an interactive movie, but this is such a vital tool to understand, to be able to use it in your life, because your family, and I remember my mum said when she was still with us, love it a bits, I got a message from her the other day. She approves my new man, which is just another, we'll do another win-win, that my mum at about 75 or something, her older sister, she went to help her older sister who was sick, and the older sister growled at mum for picking the wrong flowers, and mum said, "What's up?" So what had happened, the relationship they'd had when they were kids, the older sister was still doing that type of relationship. So that's how it goes right throughout our lives until we choose to change. And so I explained to mum, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I got it now." But that older sister was still trying to bully her. So when we want our relationships to be better, we've got to make a decision to learn the skills. Now, as I say, family relationships. So here I've got, and I want you to understand that family are also, they're your first and your biggest learning curve. You're with your family all your life. Some people move to the other side of the world to get away from their family. But if you're living with them and things aren't okay, it's like, how do I create new boundaries? Or my family expect me to do this or whatever. So it's you deciding. So, I mean, I've got my last two cards for my mum. Mum's been gone 5 or 6 years, but it's, it's those things are really precious. So those are important relationships. It's also your relationships with your children. So I keep all my cards for my daughters because they get so busy and suddenly they forget to send me a card. And I say, "Okay, I'll just read the one that you sent me last year," because they're busy studying and doing all sorts of things again. But, it's like, what's the type of relationship you have with your children? So remember, I talked about the parent teaching the child, which is the win-lose, and then our children come up and they became teenagers, and yes, they thought they knew everything. But now they're adults, so they've got their own life. So we've gone into a win-win as we're both adults now. I'm not the parent and they're not the child anymore, though they'll be my daughters for all of my life. So our relationship has moved to the win-win in a different sphere, and that's what we're looking to do in our life as well. So if there's any questions, if you type them in, I must be able to see them because I've got one from Barbara. So now a couple of things I just wanted to just confirm, which I've already sort of talked about. So bullies are the people that, as I say, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual abuse. Your self-esteem is not okay if that's happening to you, and you've got to raise your self-esteem so that you can handle that by either creating new boundaries or moving away. But then they've got a choice as to what they're going to do, because remember, there's two people in the relationship. I took 50% blame for my first relationship in the marriage. I didn't know any better. When I learnt, I moved away. So you've got to choose what's right for you. Now, the other one, the word that's very popular, not so much here in New Zealand, but I'm hearing it lots of other places, the narcissists, where they think they are better than you. So they will try and also put you down and manipulate you in similar ways, with words, with, it's like it's all about me. So whatever your experience, you've got to sort of decide where you sit with that. So for all of this, how long have we been going here? 30 minutes, so we're okay. We've still got a few more minutes to go. For all of this, this is your journey to step up in relationships. Now, if you've been looking at my page, I'm doing videos on the topics that you've said. Some of you got negative relationships, procrastination, trying to find yourself. There's a whole lot of different topics. So I am working my way through the videos. And if you're just new, in the search box on the left-hand side of the page, put in your topic, and there may already be a video on that topic that you can have a look at. Or on that left-hand topic side search box, put life solutions, and the tips I've tried to sort of name them under the life solutions tips as well. But there are, I think there's a couple on relationships, but it just gives you a heads up. There's also, if you go over there, there's positive tips, put in the search box, and there's a whole lot of tips that are on the further down on the page, videos about that I did in Australia before I came back here. So ultimately, your journey, your whole life, I've got to get my notes again. Your whole life is about your soul, your inner spirit, your guide, whatever you want to call it, your intuition, which is you being tapped to go and learn something or do something, trying to get you to learn something so that you are blossoming out into the best version of you. So this is your inner guide. Now, once you start following your intuition, then what you've got to do is use your, and it feels good to move forward, is use your brain, your mind, your thoughts to decide how you're going to do it. Now, often what happens is we use our mind and ego gets in the way. Ego wants us to stay small. Spirit wants us to develop. So there is within you this learning curve that's happening as well. And so when you're following intuition and doing something, then you are being called upwards. Now, a couple of times I've put on my face, that level of consciousness the other day, I was nudged. I listened to my intuition. So somebody somewhere needed that. That post really helped somebody. Now, I don't know whether it was on the page, on my other Facebook pages, on Instagram or LinkedIn, or where else did it go? Somewhere else. Twitter, somewhere. Somebody needed that. And so that's why I posted that then. So if you ever see that I've been nudged to put that on, it's the universe talking to me, giving me a nudge to do something, to put something on. Even that starfish story that is on the page right now. So when I went for a walk yesterday, I thought, do I take my phone? Do I not take my phone? I was going for paddle for a walk, and then I thought I'll take my phone. When I saw the starfish, it reminded me of the starfish story, and I took lots of photos and posted that story. And the whole essence behind that is making a difference what you can do. So when you are following your intuition, you're going to get nudges that are going to make your life better for you, whether it be in relationships or work or whatever. It's you moving upwards. So going back, soul, heart, and getting our brain to work properly, and then our body takes action. So my action was posted the consciousness and did the starfish post. When you get to that, which is right up at that top level of consciousness, you've been able to tune in to who you are, and that's your best place for manifesting. Because manifestation, that's the best phrase for the law of attraction, because your energy has moved up from, you've moved away from the relationships that aren't working. You've created good relationships. You are feeling good about you. You are learning about you, and your life is you developing the best version of you. So it's all a journey. Your relationships are your biggest learning curve. And from the relationships, you learn that they don't feel okay, and you go and do something and you learn more confidence about yourself. So it's a spiral that's going upwards. I hope you get on it, because the world needs you. Okay, so what are we doing? So negative relationships, I've got to refer to my notes because I talk on lots of topics. Yes, you've got to move away and make positive relationships. Okay, so my story, I'll share this story, which is, this is a lovely story. It's happened. I think I'm falling in love. So, quite a while ago, I wrote a big long list. You won't be able to see it, but in there is the list of things that I would like in a new man. Now, I'm a sailor. Got to be on the sea, got to see the sea, paddle in the sea. And all the things, you know, healthy lifestyle. I couldn't handle somebody that smoked, spiritually aware, enjoys music, healthy eating, got to be family orientated, enjoys dancing, a whole lot of things, and adventurous, because I'm an adventurer. So that was written years ago. I probably updated it, but essentially the same sort of things. Now, what happens is as we raise our level of consciousness, the universe will shoulder tap us to do something, and we may not know the significance of that shoulder tapping or that nudge. So now Barbara will know what this is called, because I keep getting them muddled up. There's clairvoyance, so I can be talking to you and I can get a message come in my mind as well. There's clairaudience, and there's other ones, but I don't know what they are. But I was nudged to go and get photos taken but now I will get messages come directly. Well, they come directly to me. They come through other people as well. So I went and got the photos done. You've seen this on Facebook. And I want you to fill in that for yourself. Who are those bits of you? What are your dreams? Where's your inner sparkle? What's your job? Where's your joyful you, the guided soul, and your glamour puss? So that's really what your journey is, to learn that. So for me doing that, and these are the full photos that I got. Now, I was nudged to do this, and I thought, oh, will I do it or won't I do it? Why do I need new photos? However, in doing that changed my vibration. Now, the vibration is the energy that we are circulating at around the world, and we want to feel good 24/7. Anytime we don't feel good and we're in a relationship and we don't feel good, it's like, I've got to learn something. So apparently with that, and I didn't know that, I didn't know the significance of the photos, but I thought, oh, well, okay, what I needed was this one here. I needed that one there for my new website. Oops, because the one I had was crappy and awful, and that one for work as well, but this is the one I'm using. So I needed that photo, so I got the rest. So nudged to do it. Now, in saying that, I've also probably since about July last year, had an affirmation. Now, this is where affirmations are good for you. As you want to create a new relationship, it's understanding everything that you've got. Oh, here we go. So Barbara said, clairvoyant, clairaudience, clairsentient, and claircognizant. Yeah, okay, well, on some of those, I'm not quite sure which one I am. I keep getting them muddled, Barbara. Sorry about that. But yes. So when you're wanting to create something new in your life, remember I talked about your subconscious mind. Those are the beliefs that have happened from, who's just joined us? Dawn Marie. Hi, Dawn Marie. Welcome. Those are the beliefs that are from when we were children. And they're in our subconscious mind, because our conscious mind is ruling our everyday, but we've got something that's lodged back here that we are wanting to change so that we can create a better okay, here we go. I'm getting in some words. So clairvoyant is seeing. Yes, I do that. Clairaudience is hearing. Yes, I do that as well. Clairsentient is feeling. Probably do that. Claircognizant is knowing. Might do that as well. I don't really know. So that's the way we receive our inner guidance. So our inner guidance is this spirit, your spark, your soul that is pulling you upwards. Thank you very much, Barbara. So change your subconscious mind. You want a better relationship. So that's where affirmations are important. So for me, as I say, about July last year, I wrote this affirmation down. I'm irresistible for my divine mate. Well, I've got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. So who do I want to be? Who would I like to attract? I've got my list. So for you, who do you want to be to your mate? Now, unbeknown to me, that while I was at the post office before Christmas, the whole universe was manifesting stuff, and I bumped into that person. So I did nothing except write down what I wanted, used my quote, made sure that I was up at this level. I know how to have win-win relationships. I know who I need to be, and I'm standing in that place. That what manifested from the universe was my divine mate, the person who we switched on. We're both sailors and adventurers and spiritually aware and everything. So So that, and we've got Michelle's just joined us as well. So when you're wanting to create a new thought, that's where affirmations come in. So if you're in a relationship that's not okay now, then you can create a relationship with an affirmation. Now, Louise Hay has lots of affirmations on her website that you can go and have a look at that, or you can create your own. I created my own, but you know, there's lots of things that I have got my perfect partner, or I'm safe in my relationship, or whatever. But at least you're starting to change that subconscious thinking. You're starting to understand about relationships. You're starting to feel good because you're doing something to change your life. So that soul feels good and is nudging you upwards, and you do that for a while, and then you'll get nudged to go something else, somewhere else. And we want you to blossom. We want the best version of you. So down at that level of consciousness, right down the bottom, you've got to start moving upwards to be able to create better relationships. You've got to start making changes in your life that are going to empower you, because the lose-lose relationships we talk about, you're unempowered. I've been there. It feels crappy. So for me, and you've got to choose what you want to do. So for me, what I chose to do was not go on any dating sites or go out with any men or anything like that. And I've been on my own for 7 years, my personal choice. But what I decided was that I was just going to kind of manifest it or let it happen, bump into this person. And actually that's what did happen. And he's the perfect person. I haven't quite told him that yet. I suppose I better soon. I've only known him a couple of weeks. But right from the beginning. So it's understanding that process that you can go on. Now, Barbara's saying, so you're saying that you made a list regarding the traits of the perfect mate. Yes, I did that. And you use intentions, yes, and affirmations in that regard. Now, have you met him? Yes, I have. I just keep getting a smile on my face. So, but I chose not to go into any relationships that were not okay. I chose not to waste my time on dating sites and that. I chose to spend my time on me being the best version of me, and understanding that my soul is here to do something, and so are you. You are here to bring something special to this world, and you've been shoulder tapped to be here. So I want to congratulate you for listening, because the universe is shoulder tapping you via me to step up. And as we go on this new consciousness, you're being invited to step up. And I hope that you do. And we're right on track here, ladies, because I've got goosebumps on my right leg. That's where I get goosebumps, when we're on track. So I'm just sort of channeling what comes through, because as we raise the consciousness of the planet, you know, there's, like Oprah does it. Oprah's always out there with her affirmations, and we read the same books, which is, you know, the Daily Word and things like that. And so she's doing her work to help raise the consciousness of the planet as well. And so for all of us, it's going on that journey, and this is my work to be able to do it. So what I hope that you've got out of today, I'd like to be able to give you some chocolates. These are my little chocolates that I've got. I'm sorry, can't put them through here to you. What I hope you've got out of today is some tips about where you are, where you want to go. Private message me in the Facebook page, so I can send you the link. No, I'll have to send you the PDF of that Fear to Faith book, because I haven't got it up on my website. But where you are now, if you are ready, then that's where we move to. It's like your soul saying yes, your mind saying now it's taking action. So if you are ready, it's like, well, now I want to talk to find out how I can go further, because you've got all this information now. You can instigate it on your own, but I kind of don't think that you'll be able to. But you've at least had your mind open to new ideas. That's important. I wanted to give you some new ideas so that you can see where you are and where you want to go. But what I'm suggesting is that you book a stress strategy call with me. Now, the reason we do that, I look at your goals. We talk about your challenges, and for most people, a lot of our challenges are confidence, that we do not feel good enough. We don't know that how good we are. We don't believe in ourselves. We've been put down, and we've got to actually raise our self-esteem. And if you go onto the web Facebook page, put in self-esteem, there might be a quiz on that page as well. And do that so that you can see where you are and where you want to be. For me, when I did it 20, 30 years ago, -20, now 10 out of 10. So wavers down to 9 every now and then, but but I work on it every day. So so then what I do after our call, and then I give you some tips and strategies that you can do. So confidence is vital. Now, if you book a success strategy call, and I'll put the link in here, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Out of it is those conscious challenges, some tips to succeed, some of the things that you can do straight away. Here's the link. What I'm doing with this as well, I think that's going to come up on the page. Barbara might be able to let me know. Oh, I don't know where it's gone. Yes, I am. So what I'm going to include with this one, and I think I've got a testimonial from Lynn going up the next couple of days. She's done the course and she's just switched her life around. It's just amazing. But I'm going to include at the end of, when you've done the end of the 12 weeks, because it is a 12-week course, a divine guidance session. And this is where I can connect in those ways that I've talked about, to be able to give you some extra guidance as well. So we do all the personal development stuff first that you've got to do, and then we do that. So there will be the course, and there will those people that after we've had our call, if you are interested in do the come on board, because I guarantee 100% this will change your life. And I mean, if it doesn't, I'll give you your money back, but I 100% guarantee that it will. But first of all, book the call and have a chat with me about it. And then there'll be the bonus of the divine guidance session at the very end of it. Now that is available until next, well, it'll be my Thursday, so it's for 6 days. I'll put it up on the page a couple of times because then I'm going away to have some fun and go to a festival. But this is now where it comes down to choice A and choice B for you, because choice A, you stay the same, but actually your mind has been opened up, so you now know what about relationship scenarios. You can now analyze where you are with family, friends, partners, and you can decide what you want, and you know some of the things that you have to do. So if you're ready, give me a call, put your any questions. Sorry ladies, have I got any questions? So I'm going pink in the face here because it's actually quite hot here in New Zealand. It's a beautiful day today. Okay, so private message me if you want a copy of that book, Fear to Faith, because now you are stepping up. You've been shoulder tapped. I have shoulder tapped you. I've been shoulder tapped by the universe to do this work. I'm shoulder tapping to you because there's something special that you can do with in the world for yourself. First, be the best person of you, and then to learn how to create new boundaries for your relationships. Understand they are a learning curve, and that you actually are ready to step up into being the best version of you. It's the next stage in your development, your personal development, the beautiful, awesome you. There are millions of women around the world that are actually stepping up. All of us, what we are called as kind of light workers, teachers, and that are doing this work because we've all been guided to do it, and it's timely. So if you have a question that you want to send me later on, put it up in the Facebook page, and I'll answer it there. But if you're ready for to move forward in life, give it a click. Let's have a chat. I hope you've got a lot of good information out of this today. It's the nuts and bolts of relationships and why they're in your life, why they annoy you, and what you've got to learn out of them. So if there's no more questions, I've been 54 minutes. Oh, I can talk a lot, can't I? I hope that's been helpful, ladies. Let me know on the Facebook page, because we do our learning. And remember, somebody's taught me, and I've gone on this journey so I can teach you. So have a wonderful Valentine's Day for you people in America tomorrow. It's my Valentine's Day here today. I'm going out with drinks for the ladies. Need to have a glass of champagne to celebrate this awesome day. And it's about loving ourselves as well. Not just loving everyone else, our main purpose, love ourselves, be ourselves, and then we can attract and find the people that we want in our lives that are positive and supportive. So thanks for listening, and have a wonderful Valentine's Day tomorrow.